Hi everyone, it's Miss Debbie with Story Time. Today we have a book. It's been around a long time. It's called Harold and the Purple Crayon. And it's by Crockett Johnson. That's the author. It's about a young boy named Harold. Here's Harold. And he uses his purple crayon. Here, I have a big purple crayon to draw some adventures. But what happens when Harold wants to get back home? Will he find his way back? Let's find out what happens. Harold and the Purple Crayon. One evening, after thinking it over for some time, Harold decided to go for a walk in the moonlight. But there wasn't any moon. And Harold needed a moon for a walk in the moonlight. So there he's starting to draw with his purple crayon. And he needed something to walk on. He made a straight path so he wouldn't get lost. Oh, look, there's his path. And he set off on his walk, taking his big purple crayon with him. But he didn't seem to be getting anywhere on the long, straight path, so he left the path for a shortcut across the field, and the moon went with him. Now he has some moonlight. The shortcut led right to where Harold thought a forest ought to be. He didn't want to get lost in the woods, so he made a very small forest with just one tree in it. It turned out to be an apple tree. The apples would be very tasty, Harold thought, when they got red. When they turn red, they're ripe if they're red apples. So he put a frightening dragon under the tree. Look, he drew this dragon with this purple crayon. Oh my gosh. And that frightening dragon is there to guard the tree and the apples. It was a terribly frightening dragon. It even frightened Harold, and he backed away. His hand holding the purple crayon, it shook. It's shaking now. Oh, suddenly he realized what was happening. But by then, Harold was over his head in an ocean. Just a little bit of an ocean. Oh, see the squiggly lines? He came up thinking fast, and in no time he was climbing aboard a little boat. He quickly set sail on his boat, and the moon sailed right along with him. After he had sailed long enough, Harold made land without much trouble. He stepped ashore on the beach, wondering where he was. The sandy beach reminded Harold of picnics, and the thought of picnics made him hungry. So he laid out a nice, simple picnic lunch. There was nothing but pie. But there were all kinds of pies. Look at all the pies he drew with this big purple crayon. They were all the kinds of pie that Harold liked best. Oh, and when Harold finished his picnic, there was quite a lot of pies left. He hated to see so much delicious pies go to waste. So he said, I know, with my big purple crayon, he left a very hungry moose and a deserving porcupine to finish it up. Look what he drew with his purple crayon. And off he went, looking for a hill to climb to see where he was. Harold knew that the higher up he went, the farther he could see. So he decided to make the hill into a mountain. If he went high enough, he thought, he could see the window of his bedroom. He was tired, and he felt he ought to be getting to bed. He hoped he could see his bedroom window from the top of the mountain. But as he looked over the other side, oh, there's his mountain he's drawing. Oh my goodness, look how high it is. But he started to slip down the other side, and there wasn't any other side to the mountain. He hadn't drawn it. So he was falling into thin air. But luckily, he kept his wits about him and his purple crayon. And he drew himself a balloon. Oh, look, there's his balloon. And he grabbed onto it. And he made a basket under the balloon big enough to stand in. He had a fine view from the balloon, but he couldn't see his window. He couldn't even see his house. So he made a house with windows, and he landed the balloon on the grass in the front yard. But none of the windows was his window. He tried to think where his window ought to be. He made some more windows. He made a big building full of windows. Look at that. He made lots of buildings full of windows. He made a whole city full of windows. My goodness, he's been busy with that purple crayon. Wow, he made a whole city full of windows. But none of these windows were his. He couldn't think where it might be. He decided to ask a policeman. The policeman pointed the way to Harold. He said, "Harold, you need to go this way." And Harold thanked him. So he started walking the way the policeman's pointing. And he walked along with the moon, wishing he was in his room and in his bed. And suddenly, Harold remembered. He remembered where his bedroom window was, when there was a moon. It was always right around the moon. And then Harold took his purple crayon and he drew the moon and he made his bed. And Harold got into his bed. He drew up the covers. The purple crayon dropped on the floor and Harold dropped off to sleep. See, Harold's in his bed that he drew and he's going to sleep. Wow, that was a lot that he drew with his purple crayon. Now when he got hungry, remember he decided to have a picnic and he drew 9 pies. Why do you think he drew so many? They said they were his favorite. I wonder what flavors they were. And when Harold fell off the mountain, he drew a balloon. Remember that big balloon to catch him? I wonder what else he could have drawn to catch him in the air. See what you can do with your imagination and something as simple as a purple crayon. Maybe you can use your imagination in a crayon and draw some adventure to go on. All right, this is Miss Debbie. This was Harold and the Purple Crayon, and I will see you again soon with another story.
Your local library may have this book available for checkout. Remember to read every day. Happy reading!